Tonight, an NBC News exclusive interview speaking out for the first time since the catastrophic Baltimore bridge collapse in March. Survivor Julio Cervantes Suarez sat down with us to recount his desperate fight to stay alive as he saw his family members and friends disappear into the Patapsco River one by one.
Hold all traffic on the Key Bridge. There's a ship approaching that just lost their steering.
When the cargo ship Dolly slammed into Baltimore's Key Bridge, causing it to collapse, 7 construction workers were hurled into the Patapsco River.
Like there is no bridge. Like there is no bridge.
6 of the workers would die, all but Julio Cervantes Suarez.
This image is frozen in your head?
Sí.
Why? ¿Por qué?
Porque es el barco que...
It's the ship that destroyed 6 families, he says. For the first time, he's telling his story of survival. Just before 1:30 a.m., as the Dolly was making its way under the Key Bridge, Cervantes and his crew were on a break towards the middle of the bridge, eating in their vehicles.
There's a ship approaching that just lost their steering. So until you get that under control, we got to stop all traffic.
Though police had been alerted, Cervantes says they had no idea the 947-foot-long vessel was about to hit the bridge. He says suddenly everything started to shake. He witnessed his co-workers all slide into the water one by one, and then so did he.
Do you remember what was going through your head as you're falling into the water?
Pensé que...
I thought we might never get out, he says.
Did you pray? Did you scream?
Gracias a Dios.
He says he thanked God, asked him to take care of his wife and family, and asked for forgiveness for everything he'd done. When the frigid water started to fill his truck cabin, he realized he was alive. And luckily, his car had manual windows. He rolled one down and got out of his truck. But there was another problem.
Do you know how to swim?
No sé nadar.
Cervantes says he floated to a piece of the bridge lodged in the river and started to call out for his co-workers.
Alejandro, Dorian, Miguel.
But he heard nothing. Among those who died, his brother-in-law and his 18-year-old nephew, who he considered a son. He wishes he could have one last conversation with him and thank him for being part of his life.
Gracias por dejarme ser parte de su vida.
Lawyers representing 5 of the victims, including Cervantes, plan to file suit in the coming weeks against all companies involved with the ship. The NTSB has reported the ship had power trouble in the days leading to the disaster.
It's an American tragedy. I need you to really understand what happened. A foreign vessel hit an American bridge and killed Americans. And they have asked the court to not be held responsible.
Explain that to me as simply as you can, what you're up against with the law.
It is an archaic rule that was created after the Titanic sank to protect companies when they cause tragedies. And it's being used now to deny all of these families, Baltimore, the state, and this country, the right to hold them accountable.
What for you is the single biggest piece of evidence?
The fact that it had multiple issues, not just before hitting the bridge, but before even getting to this port.
That's the fight every time, isn't it? I mean, people trying to protect interests over families. And it's sad.
What's the most horrifying part of his story for you that lives with you, that you have to think about as you put together your case?
To me, just being in the dark, in the water, having to fight and figure out a way to survive in a situation that you've never been in the freezing cold water, and watching your family members die in front of you, completely harrowing.
How do you want the country to remember your co-workers, your friends and family?
Que los hispanos vienen a trabajar en este país, a sacar adelante a su familia. Yo conocí a todos ellos y sé que eran familias buenas personas, buenos trabajadores y de buenos principios.
Why do you think you survived?
No lo sé. Creo que todavía hay una meta para mí.
More incredible note, Julio fell into the water with his helmet, which had a flashlight attached to it. When the search boats arrived, he was able to turn that light back on. It was still working, and that's how they were able to locate him. We're going to have much more of that interview tomorrow on NBC's Today Show.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.